Hello again from my front porch. This last well, first of all, today I'm kind of tired. I'm catching up, trying to recharge my battery, if you will. I had well, I'll just tell. I don't want to go into a lot of the detail on it, but I have to tell you a little snippet to explain the real point that I want to get to here. Thursday night, I got a call that one of my parents was having some significant issues, some internal demons, and the battle was on, and there were people concerned about their well-being. And again, I'm not getting into details. Number one, because you just simply don't need to know, and second of all, because I want to respect a little the privacy of my parents. I don't know that they would mind me sharing stuff, but I just don't see a need to have to. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. It was serious enough that I had some other plans here in Des Moines Thursday night, and I interrupted them. They were stopped, and I dropped everything and went to Carol. And the first time that I can recall since I moved out of the house living there, way back in my freshman year of college, or between my freshman and sophomore year of college, I actually spent the night at my parents' house, I slept in my mom's chair. She has one of those lift chair things. I slept in that. I saw her spend a lot of time in, and I don't know why she likes it. I didn't think it was comfortable at all. Looks like it would be, but it is not. But regardless, I was there because somebody needed companionship, and it was not part of my original plan. It was not on my agenda for the holiday weekend. In fact, I also had some tentative plans the next morning, July 4th, to attend one of the parades here in Des Moines. But all of that went out the window because I went over Thursday night to spend time helping to boost one of my parents, and that worked. It did have the desired impact that it helped that parent be able to feel better about things. But I didn't get a lot of sleep that night. Number one, because the chair wasn't comfy, but also because I was just on edge the whole night because of the situation. And then the next day, I did get to see both parents. And in fact, I was able to take my dad to the care facility where my mom is staying, and we had a chance to spend some time together. And that was really beautiful too, because he's not been able to make it up there as much as he would like to make up there, because he doesn't often feel like driving himself there. And so it was really beautiful. Honestly, that's the best word I can come up with, to see them interacting together, because even though she was feeling a little under the weather, he said a couple of things that she found to be particularly witty, funny, and she started laughing, coughing. She had a little bit of a cold, but she would laugh at them, and it was clear that he enjoyed hearing her laugh, that he had missed that, and so he kept doing and saying things to make her laugh even more. And she kept laughing. She never once said, "Oh, stop! It hurts when I'm coughing." No, she was enjoying it as well. I just sat back and let the two of them interact for a little while, and I think it was very edifying for both of them. My reason for doing this particular episode, I'm going to use my parents' situation as sort of the setting for me to put the real gem of this topic in. So it's not specifically about my parents, but I'm going to use that. Now, first of all, and I've shared this before, I get a lot of comment from other people who say, with the stuff that I do with my parents, they say, well, you're really fortunate to still have both your parents, and that doesn't escape me. I do understand that I'm blessed to still have both of my parents. They both have their limitations now. They have their issues that are a result of age, and at least in the case of my mom, a botched surgery from like 30 years ago, which continues to just like snowball the problems that she has to deal with, things that her mom never had to deal with, and she's very much a carbon copy of her mom in many respects. And there's no reason to believe that my mom would not be just as active as my grandmother had been, except she has serious, significant mobility issues now, which I believe can be laid at the feet of this botched surgery. And, you know, again, it's not about my parents, so I'm not going to go into the details of all of that stuff either. But it's just the unfortunate reality of where they are now in their stage of life. And for my dad, with my mom now being in this facility where she's getting regular physical therapy, trying to help her regain her mobility, we don't know for sure if that's gonna work or not. But you know, we're hoping and praying that she can do that. But the reality is her personality has improved. Her demeanor has improved. Her emotionally and mentally, she's doing so much better being at this facility because she is a social butterfly, and she wasn't getting a lot of that just at home with my dad. And so now she's around people, she's able to talk to them, laugh with them, do activities with them, do craft things. She got to have an Elvis impersonator that was there singing for them, and she even got to give Elvis a kiss, and she made such an impression on him that, you know, Elvis always takes that scarf off and gives it to a lucky person in the audience. She's the one that got the scarf. And she displays it proudly in her room. But so she's flourishing in those ways, but physically, even with all the physical therapy, she's still having struggles that are dramatically limiting her mobility. And I can see the frustration of that wearing on her. I can see the battle going on internally, that mentally she wants to do these things, but her body says, no, you can't. And a good example is the church that she's been going to in Carroll since 1969. Well, I guess me too. You know, I mean, not for the last couple of decades. I haven't lived there, but growing up, that was where I went. But she's been going to the same church since 1969, and every year there's one of the board members that lives on a farm way out of Carroll, and they do a bonfire hayride, you know, out in the country kind of thing. It's a great time. I remember going to it when I was younger, and she's been to it many times, and she wanted to go this weekend. And after talking with some of the church people about getting her there and stuff, came to the realization that she wouldn't be able to, because her mobility issues limit her. She wouldn't be able to walk through the fields and the pasture areas and climb up on the hay rack and and her response was, no, I can do that. I've done that before. Yes, you have done it before. But your situation right now limits what you can do. And that's just one example, but there's so many of these examples that I can see it's weighing on her. That she's got the battle in her mind internally, that she wants this, but her body says you can't have this. And it's this struggle of coming to terms with what that means. Likewise, spent considerable amount of time with my dad, and he's wrestling with a whole bunch. I mean, he's fully aware of the fact that almost everybody he's ever known has passed away. His coworkers, both at the police department and at Dries, where he sold appliances, and at other places where he then did some part-time and even odd job handyman stuff, almost everybody he's worked with are all gone. Certainly classmates from school gone. He has no relatives per se. He was an only child. He had some cousins, but you know they all went farther away. He lost all contact with them, and we're not even sure how many of them would even still be around. But the point is, you know, he's on his own. All he has is my mom. And now for the last couple of months or more, he hasn't had her because he's at the house, she's in the facility. Now, he's glad she's there because he knows she's being well taken care of, and he would be stressing about how to look after her, knowing he would be unable to do what she needs done. But it is definitely starting to wear on him not having her there, because even though he's not a social butterfly, he's also not been completely alone. She's been there. And so whether he just wanted to talk about current events, whether he wanted to complain about something, whether he just wanted to vent about, something he couldn't find, whatever, often she was always there. Now, unfortunately, she was always there. Because sometimes he would just be blowing off steam like a pressure cooker, and she's the unfortunate target of it because she's there. I'm not excusing that. I'm just saying that's what he's like, and she, because she was there, was always the recipient of that. Well, now she's not. Now no one is there, and so now he doesn't have even that. And so in talking with him, his awareness of his longevity of life, being longer than most others that he knows, along with his awareness increasingly of his own significant limitations. Like I said, he wants to go visit my mom a lot more than he has, but he oftentimes doesn't feel like he should be behind the wheel driving. I am glad that he has that level of awareness and self-control that he then doesn't do it anyway. And I reinforce that to him. I encourage that to him. But it doesn't change the fact that weighs on him. He also used to be very handy. I mean, literally, this guy, he never had any formal training hardly in anything, but he was a masterful electrician, a mechanic, a plumber. I mean, he could rebuild appliances. This guy, he intuitively could do it. He was never licensed for anything. But he could do all this stuff. And not only could he do it, but he didn't just do the basics. He could look at a situation and improve it. No joke. He could look at how something was designed or laid out, and he'd go, well, I wonder why they did it that way. That doesn't make it. They should have done this. And he'd work on riding lawnmowers, and he would look at something the way it was designed out of the factory, and he would say, well, I can see that. It'd make more sense if it did. And he would go down to a machine shop and give them some schematics and have them design some piece, create some part that didn't previously exist. He would take home and install onto this riding lawnmower, and it would work better than the way it came out of the factory. I mean, this was just natural to him. It just came to him like that. Well, his brain still works that way. I mean, he's getting a little Swiss cheesy, it happens when you get into your mid-80s, but he still processes things that way. The problem is his eyesight is going, his dexterity is almost gone. I mean, he can barely even feel his fingers now. His hands shake. He doesn't have strength. He goes up 2 steps on a ladder and he gets vertigo. He wants to. So I mean, and just his stamina in general has plummeted. And we talked about this a lot during my last visit. And like my mom, my dad has his way. His mind can still see himself doing all these things. And even a year ago, he would have still been trying to do some of those things. Now, his mind wants to do these things, but he is increasingly open about his awareness that he cannot. That he knows he shouldn't even start to try to do these things because there's no way he's going to be able to do it. He used to be able to do it like that. Now he can hardly do any of it. And I can see how that weighs on him. In fact, when I was there and we were talking, he literally said, Paul, you have no idea how tough it is for me to sit here and realize that I can't do any of this stuff anymore. He said, I never thought I would be like this, but here I am. Now, there's nothing deep and profound about that, but it struck me really powerfully because for both of them, in these separate conversations about these things, it was clear to me how they're living to the stage of life that they're in now is a blessing for those of us that still embrace that I have both my parents and I love them and they love me and when we're together, I enjoy those times together and I think they enjoy those times together too. At least they did this weekend, I know. And I don't have a point of reference because I haven't reached that age of life, but someday I will. Someday I will face the same dilemmas, the same internal debates that my parents face. And I find myself watching what I'm witnessing with them and how they are struggling. Yet I will say I'll call both of them brave. I think they are bravely struggling with this. Neither of them likes their scenario. Neither of them is happy with the limits that they have on their life. And yet, both of them keep moving forward. They keep pressing on. They keep doing everything they can to try to continue to make their life good. And I think that's fantastic. I'm very proud of both of them for that. And I want to help them achieve whatever they want to achieve, that they can achieve within those limits. But I find myself becoming more cognizant because, here, I'll just give you this example. And maybe you've done the same. Where I've been driving in traffic and I get stuck behind some car that's going really slow or out on the highway and stuck behind some car that's not even doing the speed limit, well under the speed limit. I can't get around because cars come in. And finally, I go to get around, I hit the gas and go past them, and I glance over, and it's an old person, I quote, old person driving. And I've been just as prone as anybody else to roll my eyes and be like, oh man, what's that old fool doing out here? They shouldn't be out here. I don't know, maybe they shouldn't be. I don't know. But I'm guessing that old fool is struggling with the same things that my parents are. The same thing that anybody who reaches that stage in life is struggling with. I used to be able to do all of this stuff. Now I'm lucky if I can do this little bit of stuff. And that little bit of stuff keeps shrinking. How do I hold on to some piece of me? That's what I heard. Neither of my parents actually said that statement, but that's what I heard in my heart when I was talking with each of them. And it weighed very heavy on me, and it still does. Now, there's no easy solution. There's no, and the limits are what they are. I can't wave a magic wand and poof, take them away, and now you're young again. It doesn't work that way. But I can be more understanding. I like to think I already am understanding to an extent, but I can be even more understanding. And not just with my parents because they're my parents, but with other people in general. You always hear people say, well, be nice to other people, you don't know what they're going through. Well, in the case of an older person, a person who is advanced in their years like that, no, you may not know everything, but I'm going to guarantee you this struggle that both of my parents articulated this last weekend, I guarantee you, an older person who's matured to that point in life, they're struggling with those things too. Be kind. Be considerate. Be thoughtful. Whatever that means in the context you're in. Don't treat them like they're baggage, like they're dead weight, like they're an inconvenience. Acknowledge them because they blazed the trail. They opened the paths that the rest of us now just casually stroll on and enjoy. Show respect. Show love. So, anyway, I know this isn't a happy, woohoo, uplifting one. But this is something that, it was a very emotionally draining weekend for me. I'm glad it ended on a positive note. When I left to come back home, everybody was in good shape for the most part. Both of them still facing and gripped with the stuff. My mom knowing she still can't go to this hayride event. My dad still fully aware of the fact that he can't do the projects with his own hands that he would like to do. And yet, both of them were in better spirits. Sometimes just letting them talk, just listening. Sometimes that does a world of good. So if you have people in your life who are in that same type of capacity, consider what you can do to help them out. And I don't mean actually even physically helping them out. Sometimes it's just sit down with them, listen to them, and love on them. Give them hugs. Show them some attention. They've earned it. So, with that, I'm going to let y'all go. And I'll see you next time from my front porch.